Nation Fit in 10, welcome to day 36 of the challenge. And I am clearly not in the same spot as I usually am for these videos. I'm sitting in, I'm in Campbell River right now at my mom's place. And yeah, I don't have my ring lamp with me, so it looks a little bit different. Lighting's a little bit different. I sent out your numbers to you today, so please have a look at those. And without further ado, I'll get back into your questions here. I am behind in responding to your Slack messages, so please bear with me. I haven't really checked them in 2 days, so I will get to them. I'm just sort of like a little bit in holiday mode, visiting my mom, my sister, so. All right, so feedback, let's get into it. This person writes, I was compliant to the point of healthy choices I made. However, I still can't manage to hit all of my macro numbers accurately. So I don't expect you to get your numbers right to the macro, but to be relatively close, within 5%. And this again is just about pre-planning, just pre-planning the meals. So if you're trying to wing this, which sounds to me like you are, because if you pre-plan in advance, you'll get your numbers, no problem. It just becomes very hard if you're in the moment and you're trying to do it. So it's great that that you're making healthy choices. Whatever that means. Usually when I think about healthy choices, I'm thinking about, real whole foods. Generally speaking, those are going to be, I think we consider those to be, healthy choices, unless of course you maybe have an allergy to them or something. But you've got to pre-plan. I said this from day one, you have to pre-plan. If you expect to do well in the challenge, not pre-planning, it's just not going to happen. It just won't. You can't, right? You can't wing your diet. So even if you are picking foods that are real whole food choices or what you might consider to be healthy choices, you got to pre-plan. It's just the way it is. Name something specific you need help with. I'm having a hard time figuring out how to eat more calories without going over in my macros. So I'm having a hard time figuring out how to eat more calories without going over macros. Okay, your macros are just made up of your calories. So whatever, I start with your calories. Obviously, the calorie amount that you get is based on a host of factors. Okay, things like your sex, your age, your lean body mass, etc. Age. All these things are going to contribute to your total calories. Once I determine your total calories, okay, once I make that estimation, then I break down your macros from those calories. So really what you're saying to me is you're having a hard time meeting your macros without going over your macros is really what you're saying. So I'm going to come back to you again. You've got to just pre-plan. You've got to, especially if you're looking at the end of the day and you're trying to meet those macros, okay, because I'm assuming this is what you're doing, you've got to look for those foods that are high in one macronutrient only, right? Which is most foods. Most foods that you have are just going to be high in one macronutrient. So this is what you need to do. So for example, if it's protein, you need just a lean protein source, right? Like a white fish, a chicken breast, eye round steak, egg whites, low-fat cottage cheese, low-fat Greek yogurt. Any of those are going to work. That's going to just bump up your protein without affecting any of your other macros. Okay, so maybe it's just a little bit of that you have to add in, or maybe it's a lot. If it's carbohydrates, well, then we're looking at primarily fruit. Okay, fruit or most vegetables. I should say most fruits, most vegetables. Tubers, any of your starches, these are going to be primarily just pure carbohydrates. So if you're low in carbohydrates, you just need to add in some of these foods or one of these foods. That's all you need to do. And it's not going to affect your other macros. All right. If you are short in fats, you just need a fat strong food. You can go to the easiest ones, which are oils: olive oil, macadamia nut oil, coconut oil. What are some other good ones? There's a lot of bad ones out there. If you're supplementing with fish oil, have some fish oil. But it could be things like even real butter, okay? You could say nuts, but I mean, nuts have got a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat. Excuse me, a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrates. So again, you just got to look for those foods that will fill in the gaps. And this is, you know, you won't have any problem doing this if you pre-plan, okay? How am I doing for time here? 5.5 minutes. Okay, ideas on foods that are good to batch cook for lunches and dinners. Look at the recipes in your manual. Okay, that's a great starting point. But I'm always going to have you, especially for this challenge, look at eating basic. Okay, again, choose a food that's protein strong. Choose a food that's carbohydrate strong. That in and of itself should be enough. Maybe you have to add a little bit to that meal. Maybe you're going to add in a little serving of nuts or nut butter, or maybe you're going to, add some butter to whatever, a potato, okay? But you just got to think basic food. So what are some examples here? Okay, in the morning, oatmeal, okay, there's your carbohydrate. Protein and fat, 3 whole eggs. There you go. This is just off the top of my head, right? But I do know right there that you're getting a very carbohydrate strong food. You're gonna get a protein and fat strong food as well, okay? So that's a good mixture right there, okay? Say roughly 2 ounces of oatmeal, 3 whole eggs. Very easy meal. Okay, now you could add some cinnamon to your oatmeal. You could add some stevia for sweetener. Maybe you want to add some berries to your oatmeal, something like that, okay? For lunch, you could have something like, 2 slices of swirly bread. That's primarily going to be carbohydrates. You could have maybe a couple slices of cheese. You're going to get a little bit of protein, but primarily it's going to be fat. And then you're going to add a protein source to that. Maybe it's going to be, a chicken breast or something. Okay, so there's another meal. We've just got to think very, very basic. Okay, basic, go back to your basic foods and just start from there. This is, at this point in the challenge, and I'm not trying to scold you in any way, shape, or form here. You've got to kind of jump. You've got to really not sort of dip your feet in the pool. You got to dive in and you got to start swimming. You've got to, at this point in the challenge, you should know, how to do this quite easily. I'm really enjoying the classes paired with the food advice. Martina kicks my butt every class. Mark has great assistance with my eating challenges. I just can't seem to hit every day. All right, so again, don't, I don't want to say don't try, just do, but really, it's just planning. So if you plan in advance, you're gonna have no problem with it. You just like I said, you just gotta tick off those check boxes. And some of these check boxes are your food prep. That's all you have to do. All right, so you just have to do it. If you're kind of trying to get through it by doing this, it's not gonna happen. You've got to plan. You write it out. Tonight, write out what you're gonna eat for tomorrow. Figure out what the macros are. Put it in your app and then you can test it out. If you put like I said on day one, if you're you're getting 100 grams of protein, you decide you're gonna eat 3 meals per day, well, then roughly it's gonna be 33 grams of protein per meal. Just start planning out your meals so you get 33 grams in that meal. Okay, so what's that gonna look like? Well, it could look like, 4 ounces of cooked chicken, or it could look like, 6 ounces of cod, or it could be, a little over 1 scoop of, ATP Labs grass-fed whey protein powder. Okay, it's just planning it out in advance. Okay. All right, let's get to the message of the day here. On this day 36, the first day of the second half of this challenge. So we are over halfway now officially. While one may encounter many defeats, one must not be defeated. All right, it's kind of my theme for the last running week here as we went through week 5. You can't get defeated. All right, I don't want you to feel defeated. It's okay if you have feelings of this, but again, you've got to really, if you're not quite there, like in the case of this person that wrote me before, if you're not quite there, you've got to push yourself to get there. All right. And so part of this is going to be, in the case of your food, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to plan out my food. All right. You're going to encounter all these problems, okay, or what you might consider to be problems or failures or, whatever, obstacles, however you want to see this. But you've got to push through them, and you've got to keep going, all right? Don't let yourself get defeated. Don't give up. And don't think this is not something that, don't think of this as something that you're not capable of, okay? You are capable of it, all right? You just have to apply yourself. You need to try harder, okay? Pre-plan your food, all right? We've got a whole other half of the challenge to go through. Just pre-plan in advance, and you're gonna do great, okay? I promise you. Your food is a game changer in this. It's about the food and being consistent with it, okay? One other thing I'm just gonna say here, and I'm not saying that exercise isn't important, because it is. You could do all the exercise you want in the world, and it's possible not to lose any body fat, right? You just have to supplement that with enough food. However, you could do no exercise, but be appropriate with your diet and lose body fat. That's how strong food is. That is how strong food is, right? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow. See ya.